I'm working on a football game called Bug Ball, where you play as a goofy cast of bug characters with a bunch of crazy abilities. And so far, I've modeled all 17 of the playable bugs myself. But the beautiful pitch they're playing on here, I didn't make myself. It's actually a compilation of free assets from the Unity Asset Store. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using assets in a game. I know that you might associate using assets with asset flips, games made on the cheap with a mishmash of styles with no real care poured into them. But a lot of extremely popular games you've probably played use paid or even free assets in them. Game development takes a heck of a long time, so if there's a way to speed up the process so you can play the game sooner, why wouldn't they do that? The problem comes when developers compromise on quality too much out of laziness or lack of skill. That's when a game becomes an asset flip. Now, I'm not saying the assets I'm using are bad or even look out of place. If anything, I'm a little worried that I won't be able to make the pitch look this good if I remake it myself. The reason why the assets have been bothering me is just because I want to be able to customize the environments in my game to give everything a personal touch. So I'm going to take you through the journey of me creating the first pitch for my game, the grassroots pitch, from modeling and texturing, then adding movement and life to the pitch, and finally adding the first weather condition that completely changes the gameplay. So I wouldn't say 3D modeling is one of the skills I put a bunch of skill points into over the years. I mean, if you look at some of the bugs that I've modeled so far, they're kind of questionable. This guy's got round eyes, but then this guy's got square eyes. It's not really obvious what bug this guy's meant to be. But even though I don't have much experience, there's only one way to get better, and that's to just do more of it. I first modeled a basic rock, a couple grass blades, a tree stump, and a root that I could have sticking out of the ground. Instead of hand painting textures onto all of the objects, I'm using this gradient color palette to add subtle gradients onto all of the objects, which is pretty nice because it means I can basically use one texture and one material for every single object. One thing I discovered is I only need to make a couple assets to fill an entire scene, and it doesn't even look too repetitive. I could scale and rotate objects to use them all over the pitch, and they look like completely different assets. If I show you these three 2D assets, it's pretty obvious they're the same, and I've just squashed and rotated them. But with 3D, if I show you three assets, it's nowhere near as obvious. And spending some time placing everything right where I wanted it, I think the final result is pretty nice. The name I wanted to go for this pitch is the grassroots pitch, since it's the first one you'll play the game on, and well, there's grass and roots. Last devlog, I announced I have a Discord, and I got some amazing suggestions for a honeycomb map, and a pond map with lily pads you can walk on. If you have any ideas for pitches, or even bugs and abilities to add to the game, make sure you join the Discord with the first link in the description, or leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your ideas. I've already added a bunch of suggestions to the game. Now, I really want to take this pitch to the next level and make it actually feel alive. There's not really any life or movement going on. I also want to add a personal touch to the map too. The first way that I wanted to add life to the pitch was adding in this shader to make the grass move and make it also interactable with the players. And let me tell you, this did not go right the first time or the second. I spent so long on this. This is why the devlog took so long, honestly. It was just getting this one shader to work. I had so many problems with it. It was a nightmare. But after way too much trial and error, I eventually got it working. And now you can run through it. Look at that. After adding in the grass, I turned my attention to the general ambience of the pitch, adding in these swirly wind particles and adding in some falling leaves just to spruce things up a little bit. And of course, the one thing that definitely is going to bring life to the pitch is some fans. The fans look pretty calm at the moment, but as gameplay gets more action-packed around them, they start to cheer more. The pitch seats about 150 fans, and they have 3 different animations that play based on how excited they are. If you use Unity, and you're wondering how I'm animating 150 characters using the animation component, basically, I'm not handling any of the logic inside of the animation component. The animation component is really bad at handling logic, and when you have a huge amount of them, it lags your game out like crazy. All of the logic is actually done through the code. I mean, ideally for a large crowd like this, you just wouldn't use the animation component, but for now the performance drop isn't that bad, and maybe that's something I can optimize in the future. So, I've made the environment look much cooler, but the gameplay hasn't actually changed in any way whatsoever. Well, not really. Whoa, what's going on? It's raining? Oh yeah, that's right, I added in the first weather condition to the game. Watch out, little guys. The rain is part of this new gameplay system I'm calling Dynamic Events. Dynamic events are going to be random events that can happen during the match that add more unpredictability to the gameplay. During the rain event, A bunch of droplets fall onto the pitch and the bugs get stuck if they walk into them, or if they're unlucky enough to have one of them fall on them. Certain bugs have abilities that can destroy the drops, like the woodlouse who can roll through them, and the millipede who can shoot his legs at them. I have a bunch of different ideas for more dynamic events that can happen throughout the game, like a giant frog who tries to eat the bugs, or angry fans running on the pitch to tackle players. What do you think I should add? I hope you've enjoyed seeing the progress so far in the first pitch for Bug Ball. If you want to give the game a try for yourself, there's a free demo on Steam I've linked below. It currently only has controller support, but it supports up to 4 people in local multiplayer or with Steam Remote Play. Also, I'm going to quickly gloss over this at the end because it wasn't the real focus of this video, but I spent a bunch of time redoing the UI so you can choose your teammates before a game. I also did a bunch of quality of life and bug fixes, and I added in a new bug, the butterfly that can fire off mini tornadoes. Thanks for watching everyone, I'll see you in the next one.